you're either learning Davinci Resolve or you've learned just enough that you want to try your first Fusion project. So you click that little pencil icon and you run into this little guy. What the f is that? So we're going to be talking about. These are nodes. And like this beautiful commenter that we had on my last short, you're probably confused as to how they work. So we are going to be tackling three main questions today. What are nodes? How do they work? And then why do we sometimes see people looping them back into each other to achieve certain effects? That'll be a fun little tip at the end. Let's roll the intro. Let's run through our first questions. What are nodes? Casey Ferris has a phenomenal video that runs you into the functionality of nodes in a lot more in depth. So when you're done here, I encourage you to go search that video out. He does a great job explaining how to use them. But you're here now, so you gotta watch this one first, okay? I like to think of nodes as containers. They're simply a box that you can put either media, which can be pictures, assets, text, backgrounds, videos, anything that you're going to be manipulating, or you can put instructions in them, which is anything that you're going to be using to manipulate those videos, clips, photos, and assets. That's it. They're just containers. And like I said, there's two main types of them. The first one is the media containers. And the media containers, again, are things that are going to put pictures, videos, assets, anything of that sort. It's anything that you're going to be manipulating, anything that you're going to be using as a base to build an effect. A lot of the times these are video clips or things that you're adding special effects to, but when you're talking to motion graphics, they tend to be text, backgrounds, lines, things of that nature that you are going to be using to create whatever it is that you want to build. So media containers are everything that you're going to be manipulating. The second type of node is called an instruction node, or I like to call them an instruction nodes, and they are everything that you're going to be using to manipulate anything that you have in your media container. Those tends to be things like transforms, corner positionings, color grades, things of that nature. It's a set of instructions that you're containing in this box that you are going to tell the system to apply to whatever media container you attach that instruction to. It's pretty simple. It can get a little bit more complex later on down the line, but at its core, nodes are just containers for either media or instructions. And you use the media as a base for the effect, and then you tell the software to use the instructions to manipulate the media. At its basis, that's how nodes work. Let's jump into Fusion and take a look at how this works. So we're in Fusion right here. Please ignore the cute cat. This is just a sample that I'm going to be using later on. But we're in Fusion right here, and you see in your media pool, I have the picture of the cat. If I drag that picture and put it into my workspace down here, you'll see that it turns into a media in node. This node is now a container for this cat picture. That is all that it is. It is a container for that cat picture. The file hasn't been transformed in any way. This node just now works to represent that file that is on a hard drive. Now let's talk about the way that nodes work. Nodes work on what's called a pipeline workflow, which is essentially that any node that is connected to another node will yield you a different result. This line right here is called a pipeline, and this is our main pipeline because it contains the picture of our cat, and we want to manipulate that cat in some way. So this node connects into the media out node. The media out node will always be your last node in any given project because it is the node that tells Resolve that this is what we're looking at when we're in the edit page looking at this Fusion composition. I'll show you a little bit more of that in a second. So this is simply that it is. This is at your basis a working pipeline, and if you want to manipulate the cat, you can give it some instruction nodes, and there you go, you're manipulating your cat. And so everything that is connected to the left of your nodes in the default workspace is going to happen before it gets outputted to the right. So if I put another transform node here, I move this one to the right. If I add another transform node, it's going to transform it from the point where it was in the previous node. So transform 2 has done a set of instructions, and now transform 3, if I move it over here, is another set of instructions. And you'll see that if I pop off transform 2, it changes the position because it is basing the position that I put in transform 3 based on where transform 2 was. If I take out transform 2, the instructions change. So everything that happens to the left of your nodes is going to happen first, and everything that happens to the right of your nodes is going to be happening after. So now let's look at a little bit more complicated. You'll notice that when I put this media in, because the resolution of this cat picture is 2070 by 2211, that it gives us something that's not quite a workable resolution for YouTube or TikTok or anything like that. It's too big, it's too irregularly shaped. So what we do to fix that is that our first node will actually be a background node. And our background node, which I already have set to a couple of lovely gradients, is set to 1920 by 1080. And so now everything that we merge into this timeline will be contained within the boundaries of that 1920 by 1080 box, which means that this is the resolution that we want, and we want our cat to fit within that resolution. So how do we do that? Well, this is a media node, this is a media node. We have those two things that we have that we would like to manipulate. And in this specific case, we would like to manipulate the media in node. So we select the media in node, and then we give it a set of instructions, in this case, a transform. Now, if you want to open this shortcut to select tools, it's just shift space on your keyboard. So now we have our media in node, and then that is being connected into our transform node. And this needs some instructions to happen. So let's reduce the size right here and then move our cute little kitty cat right into the edge of the screen right there. And so now what we've done is that we've told Fusion, hey, make a background with these colors and put that at the bottom base of everything that is going on. Then we're going to take the media in, and then we are going to attach this and merge this into this workflow, which puts it on top of the background node. And then we're going to take this transform node and we're going to put it in the middle here. And then it's saying, okay, this transform node is telling the media in where that information should be placed. So media in gets transformed and then it gets combined into the pipeline. If we take this out, then there's nothing. The merge node is simply joining the nodes together so that they can communicate. So main pipeline, this is a side pipeline. Now, every instruction that I give the software before the merge node will be included in the final output. But if I were to put a node here that says do a color correction on the background, if I put it before the merge node, it will only affect the background. Why is that? Because the color corrector node is being placed before the merge node. So what Resolve is reading is like, we have a background, we want to apply a color correction, and then now we want to merge everything that is happening up here into the main pipeline. So this remains unaffected by the color correction. If I were to put the color corrector after the merge, then everything would be affected by the color corrector. I hope that makes sense. Everything that happens to the left happens in that order, from left to right. If you put something to the right of every node, it's going to affect all of the nodes. If you put something in a spot where you limit it to just what's happening on the left, it will affect simply the left nodes. And that's essentially how nodes work. You're going to be putting things in a specific order and connecting them in your pipeline. So your main pipeline is going to be essentially your main layer, your base layer. And then everything that you add on top of that is going to be everything else that you add on top. It would be your second layer, your third layer, your fourth layer. So nodes are not that dissimilar from working on layers. You're still stacking things on top of each other, but we're just gonna shift the way we think about them. Instead of thinking this as a layer that's happening after the background or on top of the background, this is just a background that we have, and I am telling Resolve to use the specific set of instructions to affect this specific background. And then I'm telling Resolve, okay, once you've done that, I want you to merge these two nodes into the main pipeline. And then once you've done that, I want you to output everything that is happening into the edit page, essentially. That is it. That's how it works. So now let's talk about the question that my lovely commenter had. There is one confusing thing about nodes. Why do they connect a single node to multiple nodes? And sometimes they even connect a node to itself back again. That stuff is so confusing. I agree, it is very confusing. Let's talk about it. So the wonderful thing about Fusion as a system is that it works on something that we call proceduralism. And that means that everything is happening through a set of instructions and nothing is baked in as long as you don't render. So you can go back and change specific nodes in the system without affecting everything else that is happening either down the stream or up the stream. So it is a way of working that is non-destructive, and then it's a way of working that gives you an insane amount of flexibility. And I'll show you some of that flexibility right now once we get done with our example. We're back in Fusion, so let's talk about why sometimes you want to use the same node connected to multiple other nodes. Let's say that I have this wonderful cat right here. We've had him for a while, he's adorable. And we want to add a second cat to the right side of the composition right here. What I could do is that I could drag in another copy of that cat picture and I could merge it into my main pipeline, and that gives you another copy of the cat that you can then manipulate in any other way that you want. If you add a transform node, you can make him bigger, you can make him smaller, you can do all of the same stuff that you did to the first one. You can flip him around and he's right here, and like that gives you what you want, right? But that can get a little complicated when you're working with a lot of other effects, and if you want to change one cat, like one cat's size, they're now like separate and you have to go and then like make sure that they're matching and all of that. It can be a little bit of a nightmare. So instead, what people do to save themselves that trouble is that they would simply drag in the output of a node right here. So you see this green line. You can put as many lines as you want out of that and connect it to several other things. So if I take this node right here and I plug it into here, that creates a second pipeline coming from this transform node. This is essentially a second copy of the cat. Right now we're not seeing it because it's on top of the other layer. But if I were to then take an XF node or a transform node and put it into this pipeline, I can now manipulate this little cat. And I have two copies, and I can flip it. And I can flip it over there, and I just need to drag him back. There you go. And I can flip him and he's there, and now the cat is mirrored on the other side of the composition, and I've only used one set of nodes. The reason that this is useful, and I'm going to show you a really obvious example right now, is because I have these two here. The cat picture is being sent to this transform node, which is essentially resizing it and then turning it to the left side of the screen. And then I'm telling the software, okay, take one copy of this and just put it in the pipeline. And then take one copy of this and then add another set of instructions and then merge it into the pipeline. And what that gives us the ability to do is, let's say that you want to change this picture of the cat. Okay, cool. Take the cat off, bring in this other picture of the cat, and then just merge it in here. And so the sizing is off because they're not the same resolution and whatnot, but you can see that I now have two copies of whatever I put in here. And that is because these instructions are completely independent of what I put in here. So if I had two copies of the media in node right here, which is this cat, if I had two copies of this, and then I wanted to replace it later on, I would have to drag in two copies of this, and then disconnect this one, and then connect this one, and then disconnect this one, and then connect this one. And now I have two copies of the cat's replacement. Sure, that works. But why do all of that when you can just have one copy of all your media and then another copy that just does what you want it to do? And so that is essentially why we fix this. There we go. And so that is essentially why we do it this way. So we have one node, we have one piece of media that's getting a set of instructions, and then from there we're splitting it into two branches, and one branch is getting one set of instructions, and then another branch is getting a second set of instructions that does something differently, and then we're merging that into the main flow. So now we have really two cats for the price of one, and if I want to move this whole, for example, I want to resize both cats, I can go into the node that has both of them connected, and I can move them both, because this instruction is happening before they split. So it's actually moving both of the cats at the same time. So I'm saving myself time and energy by working with one node versus 2 to 3 nodes. That's simply it. And the reason why we sometimes see nodes kind of like loop back into each other is really the same reason. We just want to make a copy. So I can loop back around into this node right here, but I can go into this node and just make a copy. And so like that made a copy of the media in node. And so if I were to put an XF on this guy and resize it down, you'll see that it's affecting one copy but not the other. And I put another example of the node on this guy and I move him, you see that it's doing the same thing. It's affecting both of them differently. But now let's say I want to merge this node into here. What you're seeing is this. What you're seeing is this. This is now merged into itself, kinda. It's making this weird funky shape. And so this is saying, take the media in one node, split it into 2 copies. One of the copies, you're going to give it this set of instructions, and then you're going to merge it into the main workflow. And then you're going to take the other copy and you're going to give it this set of instructions. And then you're going to take that copy and merge it into the original pipeline. And then this merge now turns both of these pipelines into a singular pipeline that then merges into your main pipeline. So this is a way to keep things clean so that when you are merging different nodes, you don't have a whole bunch of nodes going in this direction into your pipeline. You can just have a group of nodes that are right here. So we're never really merging nodes into themselves. We're just merging nodes into very close proximity so that we can manage everything that's coming into the main pipeline. So instead of having 2 instructions like this, instead of having this like that, and these do the same thing. It adds 2 cats, but it looks a little bit clunkier. We now just have one group of nodes right here that are connected to each other. Like that. Oop, I missed it. That are connected to each other. Like that. And so now instead of having 3 lines going into the main pipeline, you only have 1 line. It's an organizational thing. But you can merge a node into itself. Like for example, I can merge this node back into myself because there's just nothing happening there. You need to have a certain group of nodes that are working like that. And what you're seeing is that different branches of the same node are being added into the core side branch pipeline. That is what's happening. I know that this gets really confusing. I know that this is a lot to handle. Trust me, it took me a long time to get it. But once you start thinking in nodes, it's a lot easier than working with layers. Layers get very unorganized very quickly, and you can only manipulate 1 layer at a time. In here, now I have my 2 cats. If let's say that I wanted to add a second set of instructions to just the cats, I select my media in node, and I go, let me add a color corrector node. And so now this color corrector node is going to affect both of my cats because it is happening before the branches split. And that is what proceduralism is all about. Proceduralism is about being able to add instructions at any point down the pipeline or up the pipeline and not hurt all of the other set of instructions that you do. It is meant to be working non-destructively. And that's why I think it's so powerful. It's also why I think it's so confusing, because you are doing a significant amount of brain power. But in here, we just have 1 node that holds our cat picture, is being transformed and is being added to the merge node. And then we have another copy of the cat picture that's happening, that's being transformed differently, is being merged into the side branch, and then the side branch is being merged into the main branch. And that is what you're seeing when you're looping nodes around. That's it. Hopefully that made sense. That was kind of a ramble at the end. It's a little bit unscripted, but I think that that's the best way to learn this stuff. It's to just jump in and start experimenting with whatever nodes you want connected and literally see what happens. That is a lot of what I did when I was learning Fusion. I hope that that has been helpful.